ਜੋ ਬਾਈਡਨ ਦੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਬਣਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੈਰ ਸਰਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਕਿਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਹਨ। ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਅਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰਸ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਉੱਪਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਕਿਰਿਆ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਅਫੇਅਰ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਫ੍ਰੈਂਕੋ ਫਿਲਿਪ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਉੱਪਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਕਿਰਿਆ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਾਈਡਨ ਦੇ ਜਿੱਤਣ ਨਾਲ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਸਬੰਧਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਖਾਸ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ।
I think the American people have spoken. It was right to congratulate President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, both of whom know well Canada. We should remember that Vice President-elect Harris studied in Montreal. And I think the big prize is how can we build back better together? And I think the Vice President-elect's speech yesterday, where he mentioned some of the big challenges that we have in Canada, the COVID response, how can we work together on climate change? How can we build a recovery together? For me, the big prize has always been, how can we innovate more together? How can we manufacture more together? How can we sell more together to the world? So I think there's enormous opportunities for us to work on this very special relationship between Canada and the United States. Very important, you know, we share a common geography. So when I heard the president-elect yesterday talk about the COVID response and science, that said that they'll be guided by science, that resonates with Canadians in Canada. Obviously, we'll be following up the work of the committee that he's been putting together. There's much we can do together if you look on vaccines, for example, on the border. But let's remember also that President Trump is the president of the United States until January 20th in the United States. So we are going to be disciplined in our approach as we've done. But we are also looking very much forward to work with the new administration, and certainly the type of plan that we've been seeing and that has been put forward is in many respects very close to what we want to do, both domestically, bilaterally, and also around the world. Well, I'd say the American people have spoken. At this point of time, we certainly hope for a smooth transition. We're going to be following the situation very carefully. But at the same time, we're planning for the new administration. You know, we've been able to work over more than a century with both Republican and Democrat administration. Just look at what we've achieved over the last 4 years, being able to renegotiate a trade agreement, which was vital to Canada. And now we're going to look at ways, and the words that resonated with me yesterday was the president-elect talking about opportunities, possibilities. And when I look what we want to achieve as a government and what they want to achieve, there's a lot of similarities about inclusion, fighting climate change, energy, jobs. I think we'll be working very well together.
ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਬਾਈਡਨ 46ਵੇਂ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਬਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਜੋ ਬਾਈਡਨ ਦੀ ਜਿੱਤ ਤੇ ਗੈਰ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਵੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦਾ ਇਜ਼ਹਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਜਿੱਤ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੋ ਬਾਈਡਨ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਭਾਸ਼ਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿੱਤ ਤੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ।
Senator Tom Carper down there, and I think Senator Coons is there, and I think the governor's around. Is that Ruth Ann? And that former Governor Ruth Ann Minner. Most importantly, my sisters-in-law, my sister Valerie. Anyway. Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We've won with the most votes ever cast on presidential ticket in the history of the nation. 74 million. What I must admit has surprised me. Tonight, we're seeing all over this nation, all cities and all parts of the country, indeed across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith in tomorrow, bring a better day. And I'm humbled by the trust and confidence you've placed in me. I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States. And work with all my heart, with the confidence of the whole people, to win the confidence of all of you. And for that, is what America, I believe, is about. It's about people. And that's what our administration will be all about. I sought this office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, and to make America respected around the world again. And to unite us here at home. It's the honor of my lifetime that so many millions of Americans have voted for that vision. And now, the work of making that vision is real. It's a task, the task of our time. Folks, as I said many times before, I'm Jill's husband. And I would not be here without her love and tireless support of Jill and my son Hunter and Ashley, my daughter, and all our grandchildren and their spouses and all our family.
ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੂਜੇ ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਯੁੱਧ ਦੀ 75ਵੀਂ ਵਰ੍ਹੇਗੰਢ ਮਨਾਈ ਗਈ। ਤਾਜਪੋਸ਼ੀ ਪਾਰਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਮਾਰੋਹ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਇਸ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਜੌਨ ਟੋਰੀ, ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਫੋਰਸਿਸ ਰਾਇਲ, ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਲਾਈਸ ਅਤੇ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਯੂਥ ਕੈਬਨਿਟ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਤੀਨਿਧੀ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋਏ। ਇਸ ਯੁੱਧ ਦੇ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਮਾਰੇ ਗਏ 3452 ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ।
All around us today are Canadian flags that represent the men and women from Toronto who gave their lives during the Second World War and whose names are immortalized in the City of Toronto's Golden Book of Remembrance. Every flag represents a name. Every name has a story of sacrifice, of bravery, of loss, and of grief. Planting a flag in honor of Humphrey Holloway is Michael Manu, Executive Director of the Toronto Youth Cabinet. Planting a flag in honor of Gregory Joseph Clancy is Jerry Morgan, District D Commander of the Royal Canadian Legion. Planting 2 flags in honor of the brothers Francis and Tom Scandafino, brothers is Second Lieutenant William Pay of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Planting a flag in honor of Mayor Bubis is Warrant Officer Paul Cincinnato. Planting a flag in honor of Irene Watson is Petty Officer Joan Imode, HMCS York, Royal Canadian Navy. And finally, planting flags in honor of the Stewart family is His Worship John Tory, Mayor of Toronto.
With each of the 3,452 flags which have been planted here, we think of each of our fellow Torontonians who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the Second War, and we think of their families. And of course their descendants are very much alive today and will know more than we could ever imagine of that sacrifice. Each flag represents an individual, a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a life of hopes and dreams that was cut way too short.
ਵੈਸਟ ਕੋਸਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਲੋਕ ਬੇਘਰੇ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਅੰਦਰ ਉਹ ਆਰਾਮ ਘਰ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਪਸੰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਾਰਨ ਉਹ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਤੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਉਹ ਲਿਵਿੰਗ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਅਤੇ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਫੈਸਿਲਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਬਜਾਏ ਟੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ।
Be dominated. I will not be intimidated by the police or the government. I'm not moving.
To make sure park residents have what they need and that they can live safely and with dignity. Instead of that, the city has doubled down on its efforts to dominate and clear the land and control the people that have been living on it.
Plexiglass walls, no roof, no door, no privacy, a futuristic sci-fi horror prison-like cell.
But to come up with some housing, I don't care what the government, which branch of government's got to do what you got to do. This country's got the money, find the money, build the housing and get it done.
Up tracking homeless deaths this year. It took 6 weeks to get 2 lousy portable toilets at Moss Park. And ESN, the network that's here that's been doing so much wonderful work across the city, they know how hard it's been to get water, toilets, running water.
I have the right to stay and the right to choose.
ਰੈਨਬੋ ਰੋਲੈਂਡ ਇੱਕ ਚੈਰਿਟੀ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਹੈ ਜੋ LGBTQ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਅਤ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਫੰਡਰੇਜ਼ਰ ਲਾਂਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ 60 and 60 ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨੀ ਦਾਇਰੇ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਅਤ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ।
We have now thousands of requests a year for people in really threatening situations because they're being persecuted based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. Those kind of restrictions in countries that criminalize same-sex intimacy or behavior. So COVID's just exacerbated the situations that people are facing, which is why this campaign is really important. Again, nearly 3,000 requests from 120 different countries, and we're on track to do the same this year. And so what we do is that we field these requests. We look at cases that we're able to meaningfully take action on, and then we provide the resources to do that. People have protection under the law, and I think it's hard for us to fathom that in other countries people are facing.
ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਉੱਤਰੀ ਸਿਰੇ ਵੱਲ ਦਿਨ ਦਿਹਾੜੇ ਚੱਲੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ 12 ਸਾਲਾ ਲੜਕਾ ਗੰਭੀਰ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ 17 ਸਾਲਾ ਲੜਕੇ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਨਾਜ਼ੁਕ ਦੱਸੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਚੀਫ ਜੇਮਸ ਰੈਮਰ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਨੀਚਰਵਾਰ ਦੁਪਹਿਰ 2:20 ਉੱਤੇ 2 ਮਸ਼ਕੂਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਉੱਤੇ ਘੱਟੋ-ਘੱਟ 30 ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਈਆਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਗੱਡੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਵਾਰ 2 ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ 17 ਸਾਲਾ ਲੜਕਾ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹਨ। ਦੋਵਾਂ ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਹਾਲਤ ਸਥਿਰ ਦੱਸੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। 12 ਸਾਲਾ ਲੜਕਾ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ਾਪਿੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਆਇਆ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਘਟਨਾ ਵਾਲੀ ਥਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਸੀ। ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਖੜੇ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਰੈਮਰ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਘਟਨਾ ਗੈਂਗ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਜੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੇਰਵਿਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਮਾਮਲੇ ਦੀ ਜਾਂਚ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ।
The information I have is that 3 individuals got out of the vehicle and that shots were fired. I can't confirm how many were shooting. Those 3 individuals got back into the vehicle and fled. We need individuals to come forward that have any information regarding this shooting or any others. The police cannot act alone. We do know there's a spike of shootings going on in the city of Toronto right now, and any little bit of information can be important to us. So please give us a call and let the investigator speak to you.
Police say the 3 suspects were wearing masks. It's unclear just how many shots were fired, but investigators say there could have been more.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਸਾਡੇ ਚੈਨਲ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਕ ਤੇ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ YouTube ਤੇ।